Marcus Chen had 7 credits left to his name, and he was standing in the biggest junk sale in the galaxy. The Vexor Prime Orbital Salvage auction was a loud and chaotic place where thousands of aliens pushed and shoved to buy old spaceships. The air smelled like engine oil and strange alien foods, and the noise was enough to give anyone a headache. Marcus did not belong here, but he had nowhere else to go. 6 months ago, he had been a mechanic on a human freighter called the Dawn Runner. Then pirates attacked. The ship was destroyed, and Marcus barely escaped in a tiny pod. He drifted for weeks before an alien cargo ship found him and dropped him here on Vexor Prime. Now he was broke, alone, and very far from Earth. He was not here to buy a ship. He just wanted to find cheap parts that he could fix and sell. Maybe he could make enough money to buy a ticket back to human space. That was his only plan. The auctioneer was a tall alien with 4 arms and blue skin. His name was Krell, and he spoke very fast as he sold ship after ship. A rusty cargo hauler went for 10,000 credits. A damaged fighter sold for 8,000. Marcus watched and waited, hoping something small and cheap would come up. Then something strange happened. Krell looked at his datapad, and his face went pale. He made a sound like he had swallowed something bad, and his 4 arms began to shake. Lot 7439, Krell announced, but his voice was weak and nervous. A hologram appeared above the auction floor, showing a ship unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. It was beautiful in a strange and dangerous way. The hull was smooth and dark, like black glass, and it seemed to absorb the light around it. Red warning symbols covered the display, and the words, "Protected Species Exclusion Protocol," flashed in multiple alien languages. The entire auction hall went silent. Marcus looked around in confusion. Thousands of aliens who had been shouting and bidding suddenly stood frozen. Some of them backed away from the hologram like it might reach out and grab them. Others covered their eyes or made religious gestures with their hands and tentacles and claws. This vessel was recovered from the Forbidden Drift, Krell said, and his voice cracked with fear. It is classified as a precursor origin ship. The Galactic Concord has placed it under protection protocol. All member species are forbidden from claiming ownership. A murmur ran through the crowd. Marcus heard words like "cursed" and "death ship," and the Revenant whispered all around him. Starting bid is 50,000 credits, Krell said. Nobody moved. 40,000 credits? Silence. 20,000? 10,000? 5,000 credits for a fully functional precursor vessel. The aliens in the crowd began to leave. They walked away fast, like they wanted to get as far from the hologram as possible. Within minutes, half the auction hall was empty. Marcus grabbed the arm of a short, furry alien next to him. "What is going on?" he asked. "Why is everyone so scared?" The alien looked at Marcus with wide eyes. "You do not know? That ship is death. The Concord found it floating in the drift 50 years ago. Every crew that has tried to fly it has died. Calaxians, Dravians, Vreth, even the machine beings of the Syntax Collective. 12 crews went in, and 12 crews never came out alive. The ship kills anyone who tries to bond with it." Bond with it? Precursor ships require a neural link. The pilot must connect their mind to the ship. But the connection is too much for any brain to handle. It burns them out from the inside. The alien shuddered and pulled away from Marcus. "Stay away from that thing, human. You are new to the galaxy, so you do not understand. That ship is not a prize. It is a grave." The alien ran away, leaving Marcus alone. Krell was still trying to sell the ship. 1,000 credits? 500? 100 credits for the most advanced vessel in known space. Marcus stared at the hologram. The ship really was beautiful. Even the warning symbols could not hide the elegant lines and the sense of power that radiated from it. He thought about what the furry alien had said. 12 crews had died. Every species had failed. But Marcus was human, and humans were not part of the Galactic Concord. The protection protocol did not apply to him. He was probably crazy. He was definitely desperate. And he only had 7 credits. 7 credits, Marcus said, raising his hand. The auction hall went completely still. Every alien who remained turned to stare at him. Their eyes were filled with shock and horror, and something that looked almost like pity. Krell blinked all 4 of his eyes. "I'm sorry, did you say 7 credits?" "That is all I have," Marcus said. 7 credits. Take it or leave it. Krell looked at his datapad, then at the hologram, then at Marcus. A strange smile crossed his blue face. Sold to the human for 7 credits. Congratulations, you are now the owner of the vessel designated as the Revenant. May your gods have mercy on your soul. The remaining aliens backed away from Marcus like he had a disease. He heard them whispering as he walked toward the exit. The human bought the Revenant. He does not know what he has done. He will be dead within a day. Marcus ignored them. He followed the signs to Docking Bay 77, where his new ship waited. His heart was pounding, and his hands were sweating, but he kept walking. He had nothing to lose. If the ship killed him, at least he would die owning something. The docking bay doors opened, and there it was. The Revenant was even more impressive in person. It was about the size of a small freighter, but every line and curve spoke of technology far beyond anything humans or aliens had ever built. The black hull seemed to drink in the light, and Marcus could swear he felt something watching him from inside. He walked up the boarding ramp. Behind him, he heard a voice. It was a Dravian merchant, speaking to a friend in a low whisper. "The fool! That ship killed the last 12 crews who boarded it. Every species that has tried. What chance does one human have?" Marcus paused at the top of the ramp. He looked back at the Dravian and smiled. "I guess we will find out," he said. Then he stepped inside, and the door closed behind him. Marcus expected darkness and decay. He expected a dead ship filled with the bones of the crews who had failed before him. He expected something horrible. Instead, the moment his foot touched the floor inside the Revenant, lights began to flicker on. Soft blue illumination spread down the corridor ahead of him, like the ship was waking up. The air was clean and fresh, better than the recycled atmosphere of any station he had ever visited. A gentle hum filled the walls, the sound of power flowing through systems that had waited a very long time. "What in the world?" Marcus whispered. He walked forward slowly, his boots making soft sounds on the smooth metal floor. The corridor was wide and elegant, with curves instead of hard angles. The walls seemed to glow from within, and strange symbols appeared and disappeared on surfaces as he passed. Everything looked brand new, like no one had ever set foot here before. But that was impossible. 12 crews had tried to fly the ship. Where were the signs of their presence? Where were their bodies? Marcus reached a large circular door at the end of the corridor. It opened before he could touch it, sliding apart with a soft whisper. Beyond it was the bridge, and Marcus gasped at what he saw. The bridge was a dome of transparent material that showed the stars outside in every direction. A single chair sat in the center, surrounded by holographic displays that floated in the air. Control panels lined the curved walls, covered in the same mysterious symbols. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Welcome aboard, Captain." Marcus jumped and nearly fell over. The voice came from everywhere at once, soft and feminine and strangely warm. "Who said that?" Marcus shouted, spinning around. "Who is there?" "Show yourself." "I am Arya," the voice replied. "I am the autonomous reasoning intelligence array, the central consciousness of this vessel. I have been waiting for you." "I have been waiting for you." Marcus stood very still. "You are the ship?" "I am the mind of the ship, yes. I was created by the precursors 12,000 years ago. My purpose is to serve and protect my captain. I have been dormant for a very long time, waiting for someone compatible. Compatible? Marcus asked. What does that mean? The holographic displays around the bridge came alive with images and data. Marcus saw pictures of alien beings, 12 different species, each one shown entering the ship. Then he saw them collapse, scream, clutch their heads in agony. Some went mad and attacked the walls. Others fell into comas they never woke from. All of them died. The precursors built this vessel with a neural interface, Arya explained. A pilot must connect their mind directly to my systems. This allows for perfect control and reaction speeds that no physical interface could match. However, the data stream is extremely intense. The brains of most species cannot handle it. Marcus felt cold sweat running down his back. And you think my brain can handle it? I am just a human. We are not exactly known for our mental powers. On the contrary, Arya said, and there was something like excitement in her voice. I have been scanning you since you entered the docking bay. Your species is remarkable. Human brains possess a quality called neuroplasticity, the ability to adapt and rewire themselves in response to new experiences. No other known species has this trait to such a degree. The displays changed to show a diagram of a human brain compared to alien brains. The human brain was lighting up in patterns that the alien brains could not match. But there is more, Arya continued. Humans have an incredible tolerance for what your scientists call cognitive dissonance. You can hold contradictory ideas in your mind without going insane. You can believe in science and still enjoy fairy tales. You can love someone and be angry at them at the same time. You can know something is dangerous and do it anyway. This mental flexibility is exactly what is required to survive the neural link. Marcus laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. So, you are telling me that humans are compatible because we are stubborn and crazy? I am telling you that humans are compatible because you are adaptable and resilient, Arya said. The precursors designed this ship for a specific type of pilot. Someone who could handle great power without being destroyed by it. For 12,000 years, I have waited. Every species that tried to claim me failed because their minds were too rigid. But you, Marcus Chen, you might succeed. Marcus looked at the captain's chair. It seemed to be waiting for him, inviting him to sit down. What happens if I fail? He asked. You will likely experience severe neural damage, Arya admitted. Possibly death. But I calculate that you have a 67% chance of successful integration. Those are the best odds I have seen in 12 millennia. 67%. That means 33% chance of dying. Yes, but consider your alternative. You have 7 credits and no way home. If you walk away now, what future awaits you? A slow death on an alien station, begging for scraps? Or you can sit in that chair and reach for something greater. Marcus knew the ship was manipulating him. But that did not make her wrong. He really did have nothing to lose. And something about this felt right. He had always been a mechanic, always working on other people's ships. Now he had a chance to own something truly special. He sat down in the captain's chair. The moment he did, the chair shifted around him. Soft restraints held him in place, not tight enough to hurt, but firm enough to keep him from moving. A ring of light descended from above and hovered around his head. This may be uncomfortable, Arya warned. Try to relax and let your mind adapt naturally. Do not fight the connection. Embrace it. The ring of light touched his temples, and Marcus screamed. Information flooded into his brain like a river breaking through a dam. He saw star maps showing 1,000,000 worlds. He felt the power of engines that could bend space itself. He experienced weapons that could shatter planets and shields that could stop a sun. Thousands of years of history and science and secrets poured into him all at once. It hurt more than anything he had ever felt. His vision went white, then red, then colors, that had no name. He heard voices speaking in languages that no longer existed. He felt the loneliness of a ship waiting 12,000 years for someone to talk to. Then, as suddenly as it began, the pain stopped. Marcus opened his eyes. The bridge looked different now. He could see data flowing through the walls, energy pulsing through the floor, the quiet dreams of an ancient intelligence all around him. The ship was no longer just a machine. It was a part of him, and he was a part of it. "Integration successful," Arya said, and her voice was warm with something that sounded like joy. "Welcome aboard, Captain Chun. You are the first compatible pilot in 12,247 galactic standard years." Marcus took a shaky breath and smiled. "So," he said, "what can this ship actually do?" Arya laughed, and the stars outside seemed to dance. "Oh, Captain," she said, "let me show you everything." 3 days after Marcus bonded with the Revenant, the entire galaxy knew his name. News of a human successfully linking with a precursor vessel spread faster than light itself. Every station, every colony, every ship in the Galactic Concord was talking about the crazy human who had done the impossible. Some called him a hero. Some called him a threat. Most just called him lucky. Marcus did not feel lucky. He felt tired and scared and overwhelmed. Arya had spent the last 3 days teaching him how to control the ship, and it was like trying to drink an ocean through a straw. The Revenant could do things that made no sense, things that violated every law of physics Marcus thought he knew. It could fold space to travel faster than any other ship. It could project shields that absorbed energy and turned it into power. It had weapons that could disable an entire fleet without killing a single person. But the more Marcus learned, the more questions he had. Why did the precursors build these ships? Where did they go? And why did they leave such powerful technology behind? "Captain," Arya said on the morning of the 4th day, "I am detecting multiple vessels approaching on an intercept course. They are broadcasting Galactic Concord military identification codes." Marcus sat up in his chair. Through the neural link, he could see 20 warships dropping out of hyperspace around him. They were big and heavily armed, and they had their weapons pointed directly at the Revenant. "This is Admiral Vex of the Concord Defense Fleet," a harsh voice announced over the communication channel. "Human vessel, you are ordered to power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. You have a legally claimed a protected artifact. Surrender immediately or you will be destroyed." Marcus felt a flash of anger. "Arya, can we fight them?" "We could disable their entire fleet in approximately 4 seconds," Arya replied calmly. "However, I would advise against this course of action. Destroying Concord vessels would make us enemies of every species in the galaxy. I suggest we attempt diplomacy first." Marcus took a deep breath. "Fine, open a channel." The holographic display showed Admiral Vex, a tall reptilian alien with scales the color of dried blood. His eyes were cold, and his teeth were sharp, and he looked at Marcus like a predator looks at prey. "Admiral," Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady, "I did not steal this ship. I bought it legally at a registered auction. I have the receipt." "The protection protocol makes ownership of precursor technology illegal," Admiral Vex replied. "You will surrender the vessel and submit to arrest." "The protection protocol applies to Concord member species," Marcus said. "Humans are not members of the Concord. The law does not apply to me." This made the Admiral very angry. His scales changed color, becoming darker, and a low growl escaped his throat. "Do you think this is a game, human? Do you understand what you have claimed? Thousands of years ago, a single precursor ship in the hands of one species nearly conquered the entire galaxy. Billions died. The Concord was formed specifically to prevent that from ever happening again." "I am not trying to conquer anyone," Marcus said. "I am just a mechanic who wanted to go home. Your intentions do not matter. The power you now control is too dangerous for any individual to possess. The Concorde demands that you surrender. Marcus felt the Revenant respond to his emotions. The ship was ready to fight if he wanted to fight. Its weapons were powered up, and its shields were at full strength. He could feel Arya waiting for his command, ready to defend him against anything. But Marcus did not want to fight. He did not want to be a conqueror or a warlord. He just wanted to survive. "Request a tribunal," Arya whispered through the link. Under Concorde law, any dispute involving non-member species must be heard by the High Council. They cannot destroy us if we surrender to legal proceedings. Marcus nodded. "Admiral Vex, I invoke my right to a tribunal. Under Concorde law, Article 712, any dispute involving non-member species must be resolved by the High Council. I will surrender myself to the legal process, but I will not surrender my ship." Admiral Vex looked like he wanted to bite Marcus in half. But even he could not ignore Concorde law in front of his own fleet. After a long pause, he spoke again. "Very well, human. You will be escorted to Axiom's rest station, where the High Council will hear your case. But mark my words, when this is over, that ship will be destroyed, and you will spend the rest of your short life in a prison cell." The tribunal was held 3 days later in a massive chamber filled with representatives from every species in the Concorde. There were the blue-skinned Calaxians, the reptilian Dravians, the insectoid Vreth, and dozens of others that Marcus had never seen before. They all stared at him with a mixture of fear and hatred and curiosity. For hours, Marcus answered their questions. He explained how he bought the ship, how he bonded with it, and why he believed he had broken no laws. Some of the representatives listened fairly. Others just wanted to shout at him. The Vreth ambassador, a creature with too many legs and eyes that never blinked, was especially hostile. "You ask us to believe that a primitive human succeeded where the greatest minds of a dozen civilizations failed," the Vreth hissed. "Impossible. There must be deception here." "There is no deception," Marcus replied. "Humans are different from you. Our brains work in ways that yours do not. The ship chose me because I am compatible. That is all. That is all." In the end, the council had no choice. Marcus had broken no laws. The protection protocol explicitly listed every species it applied to, and humans were not on that list. They could not punish him for something that was not illegal. But as Marcus left the chamber, the Vreth ambassador blocked his path. "You think you have won," the creature said, its voice like insects crawling on glass. "But there are powers older than the Concorde, human. The HFY have already found a second precursor ship. They've discovered a way to crew it using slaves with broken minds. And when they have mastered it, they will come for you and your precious Revenant." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "Who are the HFY?" The Vreth smiled, and it was not a friendly smile. "You will find out soon enough." That night, as Marcus sat alone on his ship, Arya spoke. "Captain, I am receiving a distress signal. The coordinates are in the Forbidden Drift. Another precursor vessel has awakened, and it is calling for help." Marcus closed his eyes. He had wanted a simple life, a quiet life. But that was not going to happen. "Set a course," he said. "Let us find out what is going on." The Revenant turned toward the darkness between the stars and began to fly. The Forbidden Drift was a place where starships went to die. Marcus stared through the bridge dome at a graveyard that stretched beyond sight. Thousands of wrecked vessels floated in the darkness, ships from civilizations that had vanished before humans learned to make fire. Some were broken into pieces. Others looked almost intact, frozen in the moment of their destruction. All of them were silent, cold, and empty. "What happened here?" Marcus whispered. "This is where the precursors made their last stand," Arya explained, her voice soft with ancient sadness. 12,000 years ago, something came from beyond the galaxy. The precursors fought it here, in this exact place. They won, but the cost was terrible. Their civilization never recovered. What was it? What did they fight? I do not know. My memories from that time are incomplete. But whatever it was, the precursors believed it would return one day. That is why they left ships like me behind, to find guardians who could face the darkness when it came again. Marcus felt cold despite the warmth of the bridge. He pushed the feeling aside and focused on the mission. Somewhere in this graveyard, another precursor ship was waiting for them. They flew deeper into the drift. The wrecks became older and stranger, built by species that had no names anymore. Reality itself seemed to bend here. Marcus saw stars that flickered like candles and shadows that moved without any light to cast them. His head began to ache from the wrongness of it all. Then Arya spoke with urgency. Contact. I am detecting the precursor vessel designated as the Adamant. It is 200 kilometers ahead. But Captain, there is a problem. The holographic display zoomed in, and Marcus saw what Arya meant. The Adamant was beautiful, a silver ship that glowed with inner light. But it was surrounded by at least 50 warships, sleek and cruel-looking vessels painted black and red. They were firing weapons at the Adamant, trying to break through its shields. The HFY, Arya said. They found it first. Marcus felt the Revenant respond to his anger. The ship wanted to fight. It was tired of running and hiding, tired of being feared. And honestly, Marcus felt the same way. What are our chances? He asked. The HFY fleet outguns us 50-1, Arya replied. Under normal circumstances, this would be suicide. However, we are not normal. If you trust me completely and let me guide the battle, I believe we can win. Marcus gripped the arms of his chair. I trust you. Let us save that ship. The Revenant shot forward like a bolt of lightning. Marcus had never experienced anything like it. Through the neural link, he felt the ship move as if it were his own body. He dodged enemy fire by instinct, twisted through gaps in their formation that should have been impossible. Arya was in his mind, guiding him, showing him patterns and weaknesses that no human eye could see. The HFY fired everything they had. Missiles, energy beams, weapons that tore holes in reality itself. But the Revenant was not there anymore. It folded space, appearing behind the enemy, then beside them, then above them. Every time they aimed, Marcus was somewhere else. And then he fired back. The Revenant's weapons did not kill. Arya had explained this to him. The precursors built their ships to protect life, not destroy it. Instead, the weapons disabled enemy vessels, shutting down their engines, draining their power, leaving them helpless but alive. One by one, the HFY ships went dark. But it was not easy. There were so many of them, and Marcus was just one man. His head was pounding, his nose was bleeding, and every muscle in his body ached from the strain of the link. He pushed through the pain because he had no choice. Then he saw something that made his blood run cold. One of the HFY ships had gotten close to the Adamant. Through the link, Marcus could see inside it. He saw the pilot's chair, and in that chair sat a creature that was barely alive. It was humanoid, but its eyes were empty, and drool ran down its chin. Wires and tubes connected its skull to the ship's systems. Its brain had been destroyed, reduced to a living computer that could operate the precursor technology without truly understanding it. They are using slaves, Arya said, and her voice was filled with horror. They broke their minds so the neural link would not kill them. It works, but only barely. The ship cannot reach its full potential with a pilot like that. Marcus felt sick. Can we save them? The damage is permanent. They cannot be healed. All we can do is end their suffering. In that moment, Marcus understood something important. The precursors had not just built powerful weapons. They had built ships that required a specific kind of pilot. Someone who could feel empathy, doubt, and moral weight. Someone who would be horrified by what the HFY had done. The ships only unlocked their full potential for people who cared about doing the right thing. That was why every alien species had failed. They wanted to use the ships as weapons of conquest. But the ships were not weapons. They were tests. They were searching for guardians, not warriors. Marcus made a choice. He opened his mind fully to the Revenant, letting go of his fear and his doubts. He did not fight for power or glory. He fought because innocent beings were being tortured, because someone had to stop the HFY, because it was simply the right thing to do. And the Revenant responded. Power flooded through Marcus like nothing he had ever felt. The ship seemed to grow around him, expanding, becoming more. Its weapons fired faster, its shields grew stronger, and space itself bent to his will. In seconds, the remaining HFY fleet was disabled, floating helplessly in the void. Then Marcus flew to the Adamant and matched its speed. Adamant, this is the Revenant. Can you hear me? For a long moment, there was silence. Then a new voice spoke, weak but alive. Revenant, this is the Adamant. I have been waiting so long. I thought no one would ever come. Are you alone in there? No, I found someone. A compatible pilot like you. But she has been in cryostasis for decades. I have been protecting her, waiting for rescue. Marcus felt hope bloom in his chest. We are here now. Open your docking bay. I am coming aboard. 20 minutes later, Marcus stood over a cryopod inside the Adamant. Through the frosted glass, he saw a human woman with dark hair and Asian features. Her name, according to the pod's display, was Dr. Yuki Tanaka. She had been abducted from Earth 40 years ago, and the Adamant had been keeping her alive ever since. Wake her up, Marcus said. The pod hissed and opened. Dr. Tanaka's eyes fluttered, then focused on Marcus's face. Who are you? She asked. Where am I? Marcus smiled. My name is Marcus Chun. I am a human, just like you. I have a lot to tell you. Behind them, Arya and the Adamant's AI began to talk, sharing 12,000 years of memories. The galaxy had 2 precursor ships now, and 2 human pilots. And somewhere in the darkness, there were 4 more waiting to be found. 1 year had passed since Marcus Chun bought a spaceship for 7 credits. He stood on the bridge of the Revenant and looked out at something that would have seemed impossible not long ago. 6 precursor ships hung in formation around him, their ancient hulls gleaming with power that predated the rise of the Galactic Concorde. Each ship had a human captain, and together they had become something the galaxy had never seen before. There was Dr. Yuki Tanaka on the Adamant, the brilliant scientist who had spent her first month awake crying with joy to hear another human voice. There was Commander Sarah Webb on the Sentinel, a former military pilot who had been stranded on a prison world before they found her. There was James Okafor on the Warden, a Nigerian engineer who laughed at danger and treated his ship like a beloved pet. There was Maria Santos on the Herald, a grandmother from Brazil who had survived 20 years as a slave before her ship rescued her. And there was Harold Chun, no relation to Marcus, a retired schoolteacher from Canada who still could not believe any of this was real. 6 ships, 6 humans, and behind them, something even more incredible. The Galactic Concorde had changed its mind about humanity. It had not happened overnight. For months after Marcus saved the Adamant, the Concorde still treated humans with suspicion. They watched and waited, expecting the new precursor fleet to start conquering worlds. Many alien species remembered what had happened the last time someone controlled such power, and they were afraid. But Marcus and his fellow captains proved them wrong. They did not conquer. They protected. When pirates attacked merchant convoys, the precursor ships appeared to stop them. When a plague broke out on a Vreth colony, Yuki used her ship's medical systems to synthesize a cure. When an asteroid threatened the Calaxian homeworld, the fleet worked together to deflect it. Again and again, the humans used their incredible power to help others, never asking for anything in return. Slowly, the fear turned to respect. Then respect turned to gratitude. And now, finally, gratitude had turned to hope. The alien ambassador standing beside Marcus was named Crow, the same auctioneer who had sold him the Revenant. He was smiling with all four of his arms folded in the Galaxian gesture of deep honor. "When you raised your hand at my auction," Krell said, "I thought you were a fool who wanted to die. Now I understand that I was the fool. You humans have shown us something we forgot long ago. Power does not have to corrupt. Strength can be used for good." Marcus smiled back. "We are not special, Krell. We are just people who were given a chance and tried to do the right thing. Any species could do what we have done." "No," Krell said softly. "That is where you are wrong. We tried. For thousands of years, every species in the Concord tried to master the precursor ships. We all failed because we wanted power for ourselves. But you humans are different. You feel guilt when you do wrong. You doubt yourselves constantly. You argue about what is right and what is wrong. We thought these were weaknesses, but now we see they are your greatest strengths." Arya spoke through the bridge speakers. "The ambassador is correct, Captain. The precursors designed their ships to find guardians, beings who could be trusted with tremendous power. The neural interface does not just test mental compatibility. It tests moral compatibility. A pilot who wants to conquer will find the ship fighting against them. A pilot who wants to protect will find the ship becoming an extension of their will. Human nature, with all its doubts and empathy and constant self-examination, is exactly what the precursors were looking for." Marcus thought about all the adventures of the past year. He thought about the battles fought and the lives saved and the friendships formed. He thought about the other 5 captains, each of them flawed and scared and wonderful. None of them had asked for this responsibility. All of them had accepted it anyway. "Arya," he said, "why did the precursors leave these ships behind? You said they were waiting for successors." "Successors to do what?" Arya was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was heavy with ancient knowledge. "Captain, there is something I have not told you. I wanted to wait until you were ready, until the fleet was complete. Now I believe the time has come for the truth." The holographic display changed, showing images that made Marcus's blood run cold. Stars dying. Worlds burning. Entire civilizations screaming as something vast and dark swept through the galaxy like a plague. The precursors fighting back with everything they had. Billions of ships against a shadow that seemed to have no end. And then, finally, victory at a terrible cost. The enemy driven back into the void between galaxies, sleeping, but not dead. "This is what the precursors faced 12,000 years ago," Arya said. "They called it the Silence. It came from beyond the edge of the universe, from a place where the rules of reality do not apply. The precursors stopped it, but they knew it would wake again someday. That is why they left us behind, to find guardians who could face the Silence when it returned." The display zoomed out, showing the edge of the galaxy. Something was moving there, something so large that it blocked out entire star clusters. It was still far away, but it was getting closer. "The Silence is waking," Arya said. "It will reach the galaxy within 10 years. And when it arrives, it will try to do what it did before, consume every living thing until nothing remains." Marcus felt fear unlike anything he had ever known. But underneath the fear, he felt something else, determination. He looked at the other 5 precursor ships floating beside him and thought about the people inside them. They were not warriors. They were mechanics and scientists and teachers and grandmothers. But they had been chosen for a reason, and they would not run away. The Vreth ambassador, who had once called humans primitive, stepped forward. His voice was humble now. "Captain Chun, the Concord was wrong about your species. We see that now. Whatever is coming, we want to face it together. Will you allow us to stand beside you?" Marcus looked at Crow, at the Vreth, at the dozens of alien representatives who had gathered to witness this moment. A year ago, they had wanted to take his ship and throw him in prison. Now they were asking to be his allies. "You do not need my permission," Marcus said. "We are all in this together. Humans, Calaxians, Vreth, everyone. The precursors did not save the galaxy alone, and neither will we. If the Silence wants a fight, we will give it one." The bridge erupted in cheers. Alien voices mixed with human voices, all of them united against the darkness. Later, when the ambassadors had left, Arya spoke privately to Marcus. "Captain, one of the alien representatives asked me a question today. She wanted to know if you regretted buying this ship. After everything that has happened, do you?" Marcus laughed. He thought about the scared mechanic he had been 1 year ago, with 7 credits and no hope. He thought about everything he had gained: a ship, a purpose, a family, and a chance to make a difference. 7 credits for a ship that might save the galaxy? Marcus said, "Best deal I ever made." Arya's voice was warm with pride. "I was hoping you would say that." Outside the dome, the stars continued to shine. Somewhere beyond them, the Silence was waiting. But so were 6 precursor ships and the strangest, stubbornest, most wonderfully human pilots the galaxy had ever seen. Whatever came next, they would face it together. And that was worth more than 7 credits could ever buy.